A woman was riding the subway when she suddenly heard a strange noise. She got up to check the driver's cab, only to find it completely empty. Worse still, her carriage had somehow detached from the rest of the train.
Hey, what the hell is going on?
I don't know, the train is uncoupled!
What do you mean uncoupled?
Well, they're separated!
The main train sped into a silent tunnel, while her separated carriage was diverted onto a branch line by a sudden track switch. Another woman tried to pull the emergency brake, only to discover the handle was a fake. To make matters worse, all their phones lost signal at that moment. The carriage soon reached the end of the track. The massive impact sent everyone flying, but miraculously, none of them were seriously injured. They seemed to have arrived at an abandoned station. With no cell service, their chances of being rescued were slim to none. What they didn't know yet was that this accident was no accident at all. They tried to force the train doors open, but they wouldn't budge an inch. Just then, another strange noise came from outside the carriage. Lisa leaned in to check, and her face twisted in sheer terror. The entire carriage had been electrified with high-voltage current. The lights began to flicker wildly, deadly currents snaked across the roof, and every metal surface inside the carriage became live with electricity. Following an announcement they just heard, the group found an unclaimed bag under one of the seats. A handle fell out when they opened it. Meanwhile, Anna spotted an exit on the floor, and Nick realized the handle could be used to unlock the driver's cab door. John tried inserting it, only to get a violent electric shock. Then he had a flash of inspiration. He took off his belt, wrapped it around the handle, and used the leather's insulating properties to safely unlock the cab door. Inside the cab, they found an old-fashioned coin slot marked with the number 9. They immediately realized they needed to find 9 coins and insert them to open the exit. Zoe also learned from a clue that some words on the carriage's advertisements were missing letters. These missing letters corresponded to 26 metal handrails, and pulling the handrail matching the missing letter would earn them a coin. The only problem? Every single one of these handrails was live. Touching them meant almost certain death by electrocution. Luckily, Anna noticed the bag's lining was made of rubber, an excellent electrical insulator. She cut the lining open with a key and handed pieces out to everyone else. The rubber worked perfectly. After pulling off the handrail, Zoe claimed the first coin. The group followed the same method and soon collected 3 more. But with every handrail they pulled, the current in the carriage grew stronger, making the coin hunt increasingly dangerous and difficult. When only 3 coins remained, John spotted a clue on the train's route map. But before he could say a word, disaster struck. Though Lisa tried to save him with a cushion in the split second, he didn't survive. The route map had been burned to ashes, leaving the group with no way to find the final 3 letters. In this desperate moment, the calm-headed Zoe found the answer on a notice poster.
The missing letters are WB now! How do you know? Just do it!
And the last 3 coins were quickly recovered. Nick crawled desperately across the floor and slipped all the coins into the slot at the very last second. The exit opened, and the group narrowly escaped death once again, only to find themselves in a brand new escape room. This time, the room was a 360-degree panoramic beach scene, stunningly lifelike. Anna found a camera, and curiously pressed the shutter. A bright flash went off, the camera printed out a photo, and the entire color tone of the room shifted in an instant. Anna looked at the back of the photo, which had a reference to an anchor. None of the group understood what the anchor was for, so they split up to search for more clues. Zoe spotted a fridge inside a wooden hut through the glass, guessing it might be the exit. Meanwhile, Lisa noticed an anchor-shaped groove on the hut's door. There was no doubt about it, the anchor was the key to opening the hut. The group soon found a metal detector in a pile of junk, and it was obvious what it was for, to find the missing anchor. As they searched, they passed a pair of mannequins, a daughter kneeling on the ground, staring up at her mother with a pitiful expression. The mother's eyes were covered with seashells, and a distress signal was hidden under her towel. The whole scene was deeply unsettling. While Zoe was lost in thought, the others had already located the anchor. They grabbed shovels and started digging, quickly unearthing the anchor from beneath the sand. But as Nick picked up the anchor to carry it away, he realized it was attached to something else. The group pulled together with all their might, only for the rope to snap suddenly. Worse still, the room filled with the sound of whirring machinery. By the time they realized what was happening, the anchor had sunk into quicksand. Nick jumped in without hesitation, and his teammates reacted instantly, pulling the anchor free just before it sank completely. Lisa wasn't so lucky. She was trapped in the center of the quicksand, half her body already swallowed up. The others tried to save her, but there was nothing they could do. Even though Anna rushed over with a lifebuoy, she was too late. Refusing to give up hope, the priest decided to go after her. He tied a rope around his waist and, ignoring the group's protests, jumped alone into the quicksand. The remaining 3 pulled the rope with every ounce of strength they had, not daring to slacken for even a second. Thankfully, moments later, there was movement in the sand. Lisa's head broke the surface, and she grabbed the rope with all her might, pulling herself inch by inch out of the abyss. At the same time, the priest also emerged from the sand. But just as he grabbed the rope to climb up, it snapped once again. Lisa tried to save him, but they had no more rope, and the quicksand was spreading rapidly. If they didn't leave now, they would all die there. In the end, they had no choice but to leave the priest behind. They used the anchor to unlock the wooden hut. After searching the hut, Zoe deduced that the fridge was the exit. But the fridge wouldn't open without power, and there was only a wire on the floor, no plug. They had to find a plug to power the fridge, and that's when Zoe spotted a lighthouse switch. When she flipped the switch, the hut's power turned on instantly, but it also began to slowly sink. At the same time, the lighthouse's searchlight outside switched on. Zoe noticed a staircase had appeared on the lighthouse, and her gut told her it held vital clues. Sure enough, when Zoe climbed the lighthouse, she looked through a telescope and spotted a bottle. Written on the bottle was the phrase, "I can't see you." This made Nick remember the mannequins from earlier. He rushed back and retrieved the plug from the mother mannequin's eye sockets just before it sank into the sand. Just as the group managed to open the fridge, Zoe spotted a second exit at the top of the lighthouse. She was convinced that taking this unexpected path was the only way to escape the game for good. The group was split. Anna chose to go through the fridge exit in the hut, while Nick and Lisa decided to trust Zoe. Lisa climbed up first, but when it was Nick's turn, disaster loomed. The lighthouse staircase was retracting rapidly. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't make it in time. Nick fell into the quicksand below. Zoe was overcome with grief at the sight, and fell into a deep despair. But Lisa stayed by her side, talking her through it. The two climbed a sewer staircase up to street level. Looking out at the bustling traffic and crowds around them, they were overjoyed, unable to believe they'd actually escaped the escape rooms. But their joy was short-lived.
Don't let it close!
I don't understand. What's going on?
They hadn't escaped at all. Both exits had led straight into yet another new room. This room had a terrifying mechanism. When the countdown ended, the room would be flooded with acid rain. Time was running out fast for the three of them. Anna told the others the exit was inside a convenience store, but they needed a key to get in. Just then, the three noticed a cloud-shaped structure above them, guessing it held a key clue. Sure enough, when Anna climbed up to the roof, she found the key there. But after finally prying open the rolling shutter, they found a second locked door behind it. The three were plunged into despair. The convenience store's umbrellas gave them temporary shelter, and the timer reset, but this time, they only had 60 seconds. Suddenly, the convenience store TV started broadcasting a news report, which mentioned the key phrase, rainwater harvesting. At that moment, the group heard a phone ringing. They found the phone, but the booth it was in was locked with a heavy chain. If they could find a container to collect the acid rain, they could use it to burn through the chain. The three frantically searched the area, and found a PMP plastic bottle in an out-of-the-way corner. They set the bottle in the middle of the street, then ran back under the umbrellas for cover. Once the bottle was full of rainwater, they rushed back to the phone booth and used the acid to burn through the chain. The three finally picked up the phone, but there was only silence on the other end. Zoe spotted an advertisement that made her guess the clue was linked to a taxi. But time was almost up, and the phone booth could only fit 2 people max. In this critical moment, Lisa found an extra umbrella and handed it to Zoe. But a single umbrella was no match for the corrosive acid rain. Just then, Zoe finally realized the key clue. She yelled for the two in the booth to pick up the phone, hang it back up, and answer it on the third ring. They did exactly as she said, and the next second, the taxi doors swung open. Zoe was saved. When the acid rain stopped, the other two tried to get into the taxi, but the door slammed shut automatically. They tried to run back to the phone booth, but its door also locked shut out of nowhere. The next acid rainstorm was less than 20 seconds away, and the situation was growing more desperate by the second. Zoe tried to shatter the taxi's windows from inside, but the glass was reinforced, and she couldn't break it on her own. In the end, the torrential rain fell, and the two were burned alive by the acid. When Zoe woke up later, she found herself in an unfamiliar room, with a woman locked in a glass enclosure in front of her. The woman was Claire, who had used a hidden mechanism to save Zoe's life. But when Zoe saw the escape room blueprints on the table, she became instantly wary. She thought Claire was the mastermind behind the deadly escape rooms, the monster who toyed with human lives. Realizing she was being misunderstood, Claire quickly explained that her father was the real mastermind, not her. She was innocent, her father had locked her up here, forcing her to design these horrific rooms to feed his twisted obsession. She had tried to rebel many times, but every attempt had been in vain. Claire begged Zoe to help her escape, and to earn her trust, she revealed that Nick was still alive. When Zoe still didn't believe her, Claire pulled up the security camera feed to show her proof. But the next second, 2 men in black appeared on the screen and dragged Nick away. Claire realized instantly that her father had found out what she'd been doing. Nick had been thrown into the final room, a sauna whose temperature was rising non-stop. Even his intelligence would be almost useless to escape it. Zoe could only watch helplessly on the monitor, begging Claire to do something. But Claire was powerless. The only computer with access was in her father's study, and she needed Zoe to help her solve a puzzle to break free. The images on the left were linked to the password on the right. Claire only had 3 guesses total. If she got them all wrong, she would die from oxygen deprivation. She had already used 1 guess when she was 18. Zoe tried to crack the code, but every guess she made was wrong. Then she looked at the images from a different angle, and to her shock, there was a second set of images hidden beneath the first. This second set of images represented a Greek letter. When Claire wrote it on the glass, she saw the real password.
I got it! I got it!
Claire finally escaped her enclosure. One of her subordinates rushed forward to hug her, but collapsed to the ground the next second he had been shot. Just then, Claire's father appeared, holding a gun to her and forcing her back into her cage. But Claire was no longer his puppet.
You have any idea what you have just done?
In the split second, the wounded subordinate shot Claire's father, injuring him. Claire seized the moment and locked her father inside the glass enclosure. After that, she and Zoe went to the study, and used the computer's access to save Nick. When Zoe reached the sauna, Nick was severely dehydrated, but he was still alive and stable.
It's over. We're safe now, Ben.
Yeah. It's over.
But was the escape game really over? In the film's final twist, Claire confronts her father, berating him for stealing everything from her. She could have made the escape rooms more perfect, more terrifying, but he had always suppressed her true nature. It was revealed that Claire had shown extraordinary intelligence from a young age, but she was born with a dark, violent nature. Anything she wanted, she had to take for herself.
Put them back. I want them all.
What's more, she took pleasure in other people's suffering. Her mother had noticed her twisted mind and decided to send her to a treatment facility. Claire refused, so she designed a sauna escape room and locked her mother inside, leaving her to burn to death. Now this monster was free, and there was no one left to stop her.
You and Mom are gonna be so proud of me. When you see what I can really do.
Incorrect.
Goodbye, Dad.
Initiating merge.